Hey there, everybody. Franklin Taggart here. It is time for the virtual coffee break, and I've got my coffee right here. Grab your beverage and let's chat for just a minute, shall we? I had a couple, actually more than a couple of comments about the video that I made the other day, talking about the concerns that I have for the future with AI replacing more and more and more of the things that humans do. And I've had several people that, first of all, they were concerned about me being that concerned about it. Well, it's just something that, the future that I imagine with AI, it's kind of dystopian. But one of the questions that came out of that, was, well, do you have hope? And that is an interesting question for me to answer. And I think one of the things that I always kind of preface this with is I don't know if I have hope for myself. I have hope for my family. I have hope for my clients. I have hope for the world in general and humanity, even though the sun's going to consume the earth at some point in the far distant future, long after any of us have been here. And the thing that is very interesting for me about hope personally is that I went through a very serious illness where I thought that I was actually going to die. And everything changed with that for me. And I used to be a very hopeful and optimistic person just in general, and always looking forward to the future and always really excited about, what the next big possibility was and all of that kind of stuff. And I still have that to some degree. But the thing that is really tricky for me to talk about is that it's tempered now. And I'll be really honest with you. Every day that I've woken up since the time that I got sick back in 2008, 2009, pretty much every day since then, I've woken up wondering two things. One is, am I going to get sick again today? And the other one is, how much longer am I going to be here? And that has given my life kind of a frame, right? So the thing that's really interesting is that I don't see hope for me as a future, having a future or a desired future. The hope that I have is just to get through this day and make something of a contribution. And that's about it. And I've worked to expand that. And quite honestly, that takes more energy than I want to invest in it. And so what I've decided to do is to just really actually be okay with a very limited sense of hope for myself. Now, that's not to say that I'm in deep despair, and that's not to say that I'm a nihilist or anything like that. It is just a very real sense every day that I'm not sure if this day is going to be my last one or not. And when that pattern is there, hope looks very different, right? Now, my kid is going to be turning 17 tomorrow, and I have a lot of hope for him. I don't know what kind of a world he's going to be living in because it's changing so rapidly. And the things that are going on right now, as far as I'm concerned, they're much more polarized than I ever remember when I was growing up. And one of the things I'm going to be talking about in tomorrow's coffee break is the difference that I see between my son at 17 and myself at 17. There are certainly some similarities, but there are a lot of differences. And that's going to be the theme of tomorrow's show. But I want to talk a little bit about the different ways that hope can show up for people. And like I said, a lot of the time that I spent in the hospital, was with people who were realizing that life is a terminal illness. We're all going to die someday, and it's probably going to be from living too long. The thing that's really interesting is that death gives hope a very interesting shift in meaning. So when I think about that, my time here is limited. My days here are numbered, and I've been to the brink of that and seen something of what it looks like. And what that does for me is it adds a touch of urgency to every day and every waking moment of every day to do something with my time here. It also, one of the wonderful things that happened is that when I was in the hospital, one of the 6 times that I was hospitalized when I was sick, one of the things that I kept coming up against was this real deep fear that I was never going to leave the hospital. And underneath that fear was the fear that, this thing was going to get me and I was going to be done. And when you're faced with that in real life, all of a sudden, anything that happens after that, where you're still alive, feels like a bonus. And it feels like there is some urgency here. And, I really feel like I have to I need to finish the work that I started. And I'm not even sure what the hell that is, quite honestly. But the hope that I have, the future vision that I have, probably is more about, it may be, I don't like the word legacy, and I don't like the concept of legacy. But one of the things that I would love to have a knowledge of is that even these stupid videos that I've been making for the last year can be found 10 years from now by somebody that I'll never meet, and it's going to help them in some way. That, to me, that's worth spending my time on right now, right? I also think that it's wonderful right now to spend time with my kid looking at music videos and telling him, man, the first time that I ever heard this song, I know exactly where I was. This is Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne, and Randy Rhoads is playing the guitar on it. And the first time that I ever heard the guitar riff on this song, the heavens parted for me. I thought it was the coolest thing that I'd ever heard in rock and roll. And when we can look at, Randy Rhoads actually playing the song with Ozzy and all of that kind of stuff, it's like I can make a deep, deep connection with my kid around that. And that to me is a hopeful thing too, because one of the things that we're creating there is something that he can associate with me long after I'm gone. And so hope looks different. It's like I'm not making a future plan here of, 10 years from now I'm going to be a millionaire, or even 3 years from now. I don't have a sense of where I want to be 3 years from now. I will feel really lucky if I'm still here 3 years from now. That's kind of the difference. So I don't want to be morbid, but when people ask me about, when I do have those concerns, like I was talking about, of the impact that AI is going to have on labor and economics and on our sovereignty and on our futures, I don't even know that I'm going to be around long enough to, see AI get beyond the point of being able to make pretty pictures and do some mediocre copywriting, But the thing that's really, really important, I think, to hear in this message is that none of us know when our last day is going to be. And that makes this moment urgent and important. Take it seriously and really make something of it, contribute with this moment. And I don't care if you're, quite honestly, depression has been a part of my mix. Despair has shown its face a few times. But I'm going to tell you right now that there's a life force that's happening, and I think that it's pushing more toward living than dying, and the body really fights dying until it can't fight anymore. That's been my experience. And in that, I actually have some hope. So if I wake up tomorrow, I'll be okay with that, right? And that's my version of hope. So go ahead and call the shrink if you need to, and let them know that I probably need help. But I don't have time to spend talking about the way that I feel. I want to do something with the time that I've got here and now. That said, folks, thanks for joining me again. Your time and your attention, most precious commodities that you have, and I am just deeply, deeply touched and honored that you would share them with me. I'll be back again tomorrow, and we're going to be talking about what it's like at 17. I'm kind of quoting the Janice Ian song there. See you tomorrow, folks. So long.